Nobody in the NBA is like, man, we got to do something to make sure women don't go try to play for the Lakers. Nobody's doing that. We're not forcing.
If you're going to talk about that, though, then you have to talk about the sense of how men are still paid more than females, because that's not fair in a sense, too. I get that we obviously...
let her finish.
I get that we obviously get some more yeses in certain aspects in life than men possibly ever could. But men do still get paid, even at the same job, the glass ceiling,
so let's talk about this. Does anybody else have an issue with this, or do you all agree that with the pay-wage gap? Anybody disagree with that? Or anybody just don't have an opinion? You just don't know?
Like when he's saying, oh, I'm a young guy and I don't have my together, so I'm being told no. Okay, great. Well, now let's reverse it. Like, girls are being told no, or no.
Seems fair to me.
Older and like whatever. So, like,
seems fair to me.
That would be the equilibrium.
Teresa,
of
men
it.
must become women just are.
Teresa, when you control for years of service and occupation, the pay wage gap still does exist, but it's nowhere near what you think it is.
No,
it's nowhere near. So, for instance, there was this article that came out about Uber drivers who were men and Uber drivers that were women, and men getting paid more per hour. And the thing is, this is absurdity because app, and it doesn't pay you more because you're a man or a woman. But the reason why was because men have 17 times as much testosterone as women, and it makes them faster drivers. And that is the reason why men were getting paid more per hour than women were being Uber drivers. Yes, that is the reason why. It is generally 95% of psychologists under the age of 30 are women. Female. Engineers tend to be men. Now compare the average, like just say nurse or elementary school teacher, which by the way, there are almost no male elementary school teachers at all. There compare all these female elementary school teachers and people who go into nursing versus people who go into engineering and places like that. These jobs just pay more. And that's one of the reasons why there's a quote-unquote wage gap.
Any wage gap that still exists is not because of endemic sexism, put it that way.
There's no way to get, do you understand? If you and I, for instance, if you were an engineer here and you could prove that Chase and Austin and George made more money than you would have a lawsuit. It would take 0.2 of a second to have a lawsuit. There would be no problem. If you could prove that you were being paid a different wage based on how much money you make. Now, when we get to things like soccer and professional basketball, you understand why WNBA players don't make the same amount as NBA players, right?
They probably also don't bring as much people.
Because they're boring.
Go ahead, Lana.
I'm like, it's just automatic. Like when you watch sports, even me as a female, I would rather watch men play sports than women. So merchandise and sponsorships and all that. They get paid more because we actually watch them.
It's a completely different game. Men's soccer and women's soccer are completely different games because you're playing because it's you're
playing with titties.
Yeah, exactly. There are physical differences, but the fact of the matter is that because we want to think of men and women as blank slates and that we're doing equal pay for the equal job, you're not doing an equal job. So the joke I always say is like when you see like Megan Rapinoe complaining about the Olympic soccer team, female soccer team, not getting the same amount of pay as the male soccer team, or or a WNBA versus the NBA kind of thing. They're not playing the same game, and they're not to the same performance level and the same draw as the other.
There's an exception. Like female tennis, they actually draw more sometimes than men, and they make more money. And but let me tell you something. If female MMA fighters were just so awesome, and I could watch it, and it was awesome, and they made more money, men would not complain that female MMA fighters made more money than men. No man would complain about that. That's not the issue. And also in the NBA, nobody in the NBA is like, man, we got to do something to make sure women don't go try to play for the Lakers. Nobody's doing that. We're not forcing protections on that. Now, what happens then later when we have people who were born as men go try to play in the WNBA, and they will try. They will try often. They will try a lot. Coming up here real soon, that thing is going to happen. And by the way, I disagree with you. I actually, this is where it gets kind of crazy. I love basketball more than anything. I watch sometimes WNBA games. They're nowhere near as good as men's games. You're right. But if I met Candace Parker, she would probably beat my ass at basketball. She's 6'6".
But she's a professional.
For sure.
Yeah.
But they're not bad.
But LeBron against her.
Of course, LeBron would tear. So what I'm saying is, a lot of people are like, WNBA is trash compared to the NBA. Yes, it is trash, but it's not. It's actually better than pickup basketball. It actually is pretty good basketball. The problem is they're not as good. They're not as good as men, and so the draw. And it's not like they're 50% as good, so they should make 50% as much. They're 50% as good or 10% as good, and they can't make anywhere near as much because all of the traffic goes to the NBA, which, by the way, the NBA subsidizes the WNBA, and the WNBA loses $10 million a year.